Now, this morning, the Taliban in Afghanistan is admitting that they are responsible for a car bomb explosion, which has killed 2 NATO soldiers and 10 civilians. This attack occurred near the U.S. Embassy in Kabul. But here's the thing. This is just one of a string of bombings that have been taking place almost nonstop since late last week when the U.S. announced that it was on the brink of a deal with the Taliban. So what's going on here? Why all of a sudden bombing after bombing after bombing at the moment where we're looking at a potential peace deal in that country, alas? Joining us here is former Pentagon official Michael Maloof. It would seem, right, Michael, that someone is trying to sabotage this thing, no?
No, the Taliban is just reinforcing what it promised to do earlier, and that is continue the hostilities. They want the foreign troops, all foreign troops, out, and they don't have any intention or desire to talk to the U.S. imposed government there.
But wait a minute. So what you're saying is there's 2 separate things that we're talking about here. So the United States is going in and saying they're about to do a deal with the Taliban,
right.
But that doesn't necessarily end the war, nor does it mean that all the U.S. troops are going to leave Afghanistan.
Well, they're not going to be leaving immediately. They can't, really. And there's other reasons why they should not. But the Taliban wants them out. And apparently...
But hold on. I'm still confused, man. Okay, so the Taliban, you suggest, is trying to stop the United States by attacking U.S. and NATO troops in an effort to undermine this deal that the United States wants to announce with the Taliban. Wouldn't they want that to happen so that the war can end and the Yankees can get the hell out of there?
They know the Yankees are going to leave because they've already announced it. All that the U.S. is looking for now is a way to get out, to exit. There isn't anything about preserving that government. Right now, the Taliban has created its own constitutional committee. They're moving on. They want to set up their own emirate in Afghanistan.
So what's in it for the Taliban to be attacking U.S. troops as U.S. troops are saying they're getting ready to leave?
It gives them greater strength in terms of negotiation to enforce that idea of getting out so that the U.S. will. And it gives them control over the area. Because you got to keep in mind, they're also competing with something else. ISIS. They're also competing with the Northern Alliance, which is coming back. Some of these old tribes that the U.S. supported. So just because Taliban is fighting, controls over 50% of the country, doesn't mean it's going to rule the day necessarily. There's still going to be civil wars going on afterwards.
Is it possible, Michael Maloof, that the real culprits in this sabotage effort, these saboteurs, I guess, are really not the Taliban itself, but elements of the Taliban?
There are elements that insist upon staying. There will be Taliban that has decided they can negotiate. Before, they just wanted to wait for the United States to leave. They know we want to leave. And so all they have to do is hang out and wait it out.
Okay, now, are you ready for the $60,000 question?
Sure.
Why don't we just leave?
We can't.
Why? It's 18 years. Did you hear what I did at the beginning of the show?
What we may do is...
Longer than the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, World War I and World War II.
From a geostrategic, geopolitical standpoint, it's very difficult for us to do that at this point because of our other commitments in that region, and also because of the threat. Al-qaeda is going to go back, so will ISIS, and they've already pledged to use Afghanistan as a base to attack the United States in the future.
So we are looking at the possibility that if we leave Afghanistan, Afghanistan once again will harbor someone like Osama bin Laden, who attacked us on 9/11. That's essentially the reason?
At least, but also, yeah, because one of the provisions of the U.S. is that the Taliban pledge that they can assure that there will be no attacks on the United States from Afghanistan. They can't do that.
But you're a man who knows history, right? Of course you are. I mean, you and I have had lots of conversations. You're a really smart guy. You know what happened to the British in Afghanistan. You know what happened to the Russians.
No one's going to ever win there. You're absolutely right.
So why do we think we can do what no one in history has been able to do?
Well, it's not going to happen. We had 100,000 troops there at one point. Combat troops, not just assist and train type of troops, but combat. We still couldn't do it. So it's not going to be an out and out win It's going to be a slow trickle-down thing, and we probably will have other elements that will come in, maybe do peacekeeping from other countries, maybe, but it really depends upon what ultimately is established. But I predict we're going to see additional civil war activities going, even if we have a settlement. We probably will slip in private military contractors, and we will keep some U.S. troops there because we can't phase out 15,000 troops just like that.
It's not good.
No,
it's not exactly music to my ears as an American to know that my tax money is being paid for these military contractors.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. What are they? Soldiers of fortune?
Yes.
Whatever. Michael Maloof, thank you. Great conversation.